Welcome to the Art Lady channel. This is the 3D letter lesson, and the letters we're going to be doing today are A, B, and C in a 1-point perspective block letter. I'm going to start out with a horizon line, and I'm doing this very lightly on my page. And then I'm going to do a vanishing point where my eyes just kind of merge in from my viewpoint right here. So that's like right in the center of where I'm looking. Right there. So there's my vanishing point. So that's my actual viewpoint on the horizon line as I look just straight forward. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the alphabet, and I'm going to do the starting with capitals. And this will be just capital letter A. So I want to lightly just sketch out my letter right here. And then I'm going to make it into a box letter so I can turn it 3D. So I'm just going to simply just make it a little bit thicker on each side here. And then I'm going to bring my letters up, across, like that. So I'm just roughly sketching in my letter. Now I want to make sure my letters as they go across my page are the same height. So I'm just capping off. I'm just making a very light line. So my B and C are going to be this same height as this A. So once I block out my letter here, lightly sketch it in. Now I'm just going to take my Sharpie, and this is going to be block letters, so if you want to use a ruler you can, or you can just do it freehand. That's up to you. I'm going to do some of the larger lines with a ruler, and then I'll freehand my shorter ones just to save time. And then I'm going to just cap this off to make it a simple boxed letter. And so there's my capital A. Now to make it go back into 1-point perspective, you want to take all your edges, and I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to lightly draw this in. And you have to go right to your vanishing point. So I always put my pencil tip right on the vanishing point here. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better here for the A. So my pencil's on here, and I line this up right to the edge here. Now I need to leave a little space here for the thickness of my pencil lead. So if I brought it right to here, it'll go off a little bit more. It won't line up exactly to my corner. And I'm going to make a very light line coming down. And then I'm going to do the same at the corner here. And this is where kids make a mistake. They don't have this exactly right at the vanishing point. You want to have it line up right to it precisely. Now the very, very bottom, I do see a little bit here from this viewpoint. Oops, that wasn't quite on it. And this one, let's see where we go here. So now every corner is coming back to my vanishing point exactly. Now the insides here, I'm going to bring back. And I don't see that one. I don't see that one. Now let's go to this corner. We don't see that one because it's behind the letter. And there we go there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the thickness of the A now come down. So here's my side, and here's the side here. So this needs to be parallel now. I'm going to make the thickness so it's got to be parallel to this line, meaning that the end of the letter A has to be the same distance from here to here. So I'm going to come over and see how my ruler is parallel with this edge. And I'm going to determine how wide I want my letter A to be. So now I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to trace that. And then here's the thickness here. So these are the lines I'm keeping. Let me trace the edge on the corner here. Now the very bottom of the letter A is in this little space in here in perspective. the bottom side has to be parallel with this. So here's the bottom, and I'm going to slide down, and I'm going to connect it to the corner here. And this is the part that's going to show up in perspective. So now, oops, I went down a little bit too far on that one. My line's got a little crooked here. And then this one's just a sliver going back in perspective, the bottom of this, just a sliver. Now my corner comes down, and then this connects parallel. You can barely see that. Now I'm going to come up. I need to come up the same thickness here. So this has to be parallel with the inside. So now I'm making this side of the letter A, and I'm sliding over, and it needs to be parallel with this. So this line has to be parallel with my ruler, meaning equal distance from here to here. This is the inner side, and I don't see any on there, of the letter A. So now I have the letter A in 3D, and then you can erase your lines that recede back to the vanishing point and all inner lines. So there's an A. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a letter B. And the letter B I'll just do right in this section here. So again, I'm going to lightly sketch my letter B. And I want to use my guidelines here. So it's going to be a curved letter B. Now I'm going to block it in. And now I'm going to just draw the letter B with the Sharpie now. You can use a ruler if you need to for some of these. Straight edges. I want to make sure I end here and at the very bottom, end here. Now I'm going to draw the letter B, just nice and carefully. And then I want to come straight across here. And then I'm putting the inner sections in. So this is a B block letter, just simple. Now it all has to recede back to the vanishing point. So I'm going to take all my corners and edges, come back to here, exactly right on in this corner, right on to the vanishing point. Any inside lines, this one doesn't line up, this one will line up right in here. Any inside lines in here, that one comes back. Any lines over here, I've got some here. So the thickness of this will come back. Now I'm going to get my bottom line of the B in. So I'll trace that. And the B is straight on, so I don't see a lot of this as I'm looking straight up. I do not see a lot of this right in there. And then let me erase my lines. And now I'm going to do the inner curve here. And I'm following this curve coming around, giving a little bit of thickness and just coming around. And I don't see the bottom side here, I just see this area, like like that. I just colored in the shadow area, or the area that goes back in 3D. And now I'm going to do letter C from the same vanishing point right over here. So I'm going to lightly sketch it in. Then I'm going to block it in. I'm going to come off of the top here. Now I'm going to just quickly, I want these two to match. Curve it around. Curve it around. Now I'm just freehanding this really quickly. You can take more time to get the shape more precise. But so long as you know how to do the process, that's what this is about. Now we're going to bring everything back to the vanishing point. So for the curves of the C, you want to play off of the farthest point here. And then I'm going to go off of this area here, the farthest point here, right back to the vanishing point. Any of these points here, all of those four corners, any corner, bring it back. Bring it back. This one, let's see if we can see anything here. You may see slight. This one we don't see anything going back there. Okay, now we're going to keep this line and we're going to mimic this curve right in here, keeping it equal distance. I'm going to end it right there. So there's the outer side of the C. And then my inner C, this comes down. I want to come parallel so that this top should be parallel with this line. Oh, does that look parallel? Let's see. Okay. And then this inside, so we're going to come off of this and mimic this curve. And we're going to come right to here. So we're going to come up and around. Then it curves down. I'm going to see a little bit of this curving down and in. So my small letter C is right in here. So now, let me show you with the pen. I'm going to trace the lines I want to keep. Mimic the C here, down and around. And then this comes off of here, right to there. So now I'm going to erase all my lines. And then I'm going to color in the shadows or the block area. And there you have your A, B, C letters in 1-point perspective.